Hello and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 1 Episode 3, Boom. I have all my notes from the episode, including the Unleashed special that released just after. So I'm going to dive straight into it, with my first point being the Whoniverse logo thing at the start being cut short. It's something I've noticed. I don't see anyone else mentioning it, but it used to have like all the past people on, and now it's gone. I'm a little bit upset about that. The child-father relationship was lovely to watch throughout this whole episode. I thought that was incredible. There are not a whole lot of upsetting things for me from this episode, so just bear that in mind. The Christian workers were interesting, and I thought it was a lovely comment on how on the war in Israel, in the Promised Land. I thought that was interesting. I think it's very subtle but not too obvious, and that is what I like about it. The murder by the medics was really scary, but also an interesting comment on the state of the NHS. If that's what Stephen Moffat was getting at, well done. I mean, the state of the NHS is atrocious. So, absolutely tick from me. The set looks wonderful. Throughout this entire episode, the set design looks incredible. I mean, let's not forget, we live in an age where shows get much higher budgets than Doctor Who, and Doctor Who is able to pull off sets that look like that, and that is a good thing. The cliffhanger on the cold open was brilliant. Now, the cold open is the bit before the introduction. I thought that was lovely. I thought the way that they set it all out at the start was great, and I really am looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. Seeing the vulnerable side of the Doctor in this episode was brilliant, and for me, I think we've got so much more to come from just that one little bit. The sky that they did was absolutely gorgeous. I think that sky is possibly one of the best skies in Doctor Who. Like, it's right up there with the sky from and it was very reminiscent of a scene from season 4 where the Earth has moved and it's got all the new planets in the sky, and I thought that was really interesting. We also saw a new side of Ruby in this episode, and that was brilliant. I think this is by far Millie Gibson's strongest performance in Doctor Who. I mean, she's only been in 3 episodes before this, but this is by far her strongest. The daughter was very emotional to watch during this episode. I thought it was quite painful to just watch the whole situation with her. When the Doctor was glowing blue when he was about to explode, I thought that was really scary. Well, not because I thought they were going to blow up the Doctor, I mean, that was never going to happen, but because I thought it looked so unbelievably interesting, and I mean, that is the things that nightmares are made of. The Doctor explaining the ridicule of the war was funny, especially when we consider the amount of wars going on in the world at the moment that he's probably commenting on. The ambulance, this is something my mum said actually when we were watching it. The ambulance looks a lot like K9. Like, yes, K9 is probably long gone and probably isn't coming back into Doctor Who for a while, but just that is a great link to the other series, and that is really important. The Ruby taking control was great. I think, like I said, this is by far her strongest performance, and she has really come into her own as a character, and that is something I'm really looking forward to seeing more of. Ruby being shot was well filmed and really emotional, because, like, in that moment, I actually thought that could have happened. Like, we know nothing about the rest of the season, and if she died there, I would have been like, whoa, you know? The snow was beautiful. Like, the way they put the snow into that war zone, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. The stuff, the way that time almost slowed when the snow was forming was really, really beautiful to watch. And I mean, some of these things we're probably not going to see for like a long time after this, especially in Doctor Who, so that's something we have to bear in mind. The countdown on the landmine was absolutely incredible, and I mean, that in itself was gorgeous. The way that it just had the lights that were going round the whole time, I mean, that was brilliant. The Doctor telling the army soldier, the Doctor telling the army to surrender was great, because it really does acknowledge that people are so stupid that they would fight on their own without anyone being there, which to me is absolutely crazy. I mean, why on anyone's like mind you'd sit there and go, I want this to happen, I did a little, like, I don't understand why, but like, it's just written in such a way that it makes you go, yes. The Doctor saying that he needs Ruby was wonderful, and it just shows how much he needs a companion in his life. And obviously Varda Seifu being in this episode really is just going to be that great connection for when they arrive in season 2. Yes, like I said, the war on the empty planet was a great idea. The AI, for me, I thought was really funny. The searching was great, well filmed and well edited. The relationship between the fighters was lovely, but for me it felt a little bit out of place, if you know what I mean. The death and then the I love you speech really touched my heart, and it really does make you feel emotional at the end. Like I keep mentioning, the countdown was scary to watch. The ambulances saving Ruby was brilliant to watch. I thought that was gorgeous. The dad removing the dangers of the army was so brilliant to watch, and yet so simple. Like, think about it, that is such a simple thing to do, and yet it was so effective. The Doctor using a plug as a mic was so funny, and just really helped to tie up the end of the episode and make us realise, actually, we're in a happy moment now, everything's safe, no one need worry anymore. Ruby and the Doctor hugging as he left was great. Asking for fish fingers and custard was brilliant, because Stephen Moffat was in control of Matt Smith, and that's just a great link, everything coming together. And that final snowflake at the end was beautiful, and it holds so many possibilities for the future. Anyway, the Unleashed bit, I'm just going to mention very briefly. I'm going to pretty much run through this. The new companion's arrival was very unclear from this, and I don't know whether it's going to be the same character or a different character, whether it's going to be whether they're going to be coming from the same place, coming from an earlier place, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that happens. Yeah, not much revealed about her though in Unleashed. It's excuse me. It was nice of Russell T to ask Stephen Moffat personally. I loved his words about, I'm avoiding the fields, I'm gonna go watch Strictly, you go to the muddy fields. That was perfect, and it really does acknowledge that Doctor Who had such a low budget that a quarry was the only set they could afford, and that is brilliant. The painted mural was interesting. Obviously, like, I know they make sets like that all the time. I do amateur theatre. I've seen like backcloths that they don't fall, but they're up there and then they just like slowly fall. Oh, I love it. But like I've not seen that in film and television for a very long time. Oh, right. There was a bit of the Unleashed episode where Stephen Moffat and Russell T are talking, and it's like, we can't make what we used to make, we have to make this because it doesn't work in today's world. That was really interesting for me as a viewer of Doctor Who really enjoys the ones from the 1960s where they're walking about and they're going, oh my gosh, where is the Daleks? It's still good, and to me, I love it. The detail in the set was gorgeous, like the crashed spaceship being the Meeps pod, like all the little details was gorgeous, and especially the one of the camp that's only on screen for like 80 seconds, but they put in so many little details that no one is ever going to see. Like, that is dedication. And more importantly, that's a very theatre thing to do. Like, just wow. And the preview of next week looks so interesting, and I cannot wait. Oh, and I've missed a point here. The technology of the LED screens was really interesting to me, as someone who's very unfamiliar with shows and films that have used it before. Now, I have opened here my Excel spreadsheet where I'm just going to run through the ratings I gave a couple of categories here. So, the cast I've given an 8. Some strong cast. The child actor, I'm trying not to be rude because I know child acting is so difficult, but I think it's just the way it was written. It wasn't great, but I think they're probably a great actress. We've just not seen them in the best of their abilities. Costume design I've given a 7. I didn't think that the army uniforms really worked all that well. I think they could have done with being a bit less bulky at times. The links to other seasons, I've given it an 8. I know it's very subtle. I know it's literally just a writer and a music creator, but it brings a lot back. The characters I've given a 6, and I've only given it a 6 because I don't think that the daughter and the father and the daughter and the love interest were particularly well made and well done. CGI I've given a 10 for the reasons of seeing how they did it in Unleashed, which made it so much more interesting to me. The plot I've given a 7. I think it was a really interesting plot to watch. I just think that it felt a bit like, I don't know, it felt a bit rushed at times when I was watching it. Music I've given a 9, Murray Gold. Villains, and by villains I mean the evil army suppliers. I've given them a 3. I just don't care. There wasn't enough there for me to be like, I care about these people. The TARDIS interior has gone up in my rating. It's now an 8. It was a 7 during the 60th. It's now an 8. I think it's gotten a whole lot stronger. Rewatchability, I've given a 5 because I think that all that suspense will just go when you rewatch it. And I don't see myself rewatching this one anytime soon. And availability, I've given a 10. Disney Plus and BBC iPlayer, Disney Plus, and is it RTE Player in the Republic of Ireland? Something like that. It took us ages to figure out what was going on there. For those of you who watched my 60th anniversary stuff, you know I'm always concerned about those who don't get the same as the rest of us. So anyway, that there is where we will leave it for today. It is so hot in the UK right now. I feel like I'm burning, even in this room. So I'm about to go and cry. Bye bye.